Warning, you're about to hear a long as hell intro. This is my first video, guys, so I'll be introducing myself. But if you want to go ahead and skip to the content, I'll leave a timestamp in the description. Enjoy it. Hey guys, it's Hustlemon and welcome to my first ever video on this YouTube channel. Thank you for coming aboard. I just want to give a quick introduction before we go into the topic of today's video. I just want to say what this channel is going to be about. Look, if the name isn't a clue already, we're going to be looking at Pokemon cards. We're going to look at the ways we can hustle into Pokemon cards. But not only that, we'll look at other products that we can invest in, stuff that you might need as a collector, even fun content around Pokemon. I'll also dabble in a bit of other merchandises from the gaming, movies and the anime world. See what products out there you can look and invest in the long term is where I'm going to be aiming towards and actually giving advice on that basis. I've been a collector for quite a number of years now, not only in Pokemon cards but other fields as well. But like most people, I've got back into Pokemon cards after post-COVID when the re-emergence came back up in the YouTube world. I'm a 90s kid. I always had love for Pokemon. I was a big fan of Pokemon back in the days. Hell, if I held on to some of my Pokemon cards, I wouldn't have to be working a 9-to-5 job. We missed out on them opportunity, guys. So now we're trying to catch up on them in later on the years now. So here we go. Look, today's video is going to be simple. For those of you who are new into the Pokemon world, if you literally just had £100, what Pokemon cards should you pick for the best profit out there? So this is cards that you can literally buy as of right now. And before we even get started, look, I need to establish some house rules. I'm strictly talking about Pokemon cards. I would encourage any long-term investor to buy high quality binders, top loader sleeves, anything for safe storage. That is obviously a separate cost, and I'll be making a video to cover some of these products that you can look into at a fantastic price, because like any market out there, I say that there's branded version of these products, like the Louis Vuitton version of the Pokemon world. There's some binders out there that are absolutely ridiculous prices, and honestly, it's a name, it's a gimmick out there. So I will look into that. I'll also be strictly talking about English written Pokemon cards. So I'm not looking into the Japanese, Korean or European cards. This is strictly where you could buy in the English speaking countries like America, UK, Australia, New Zealand, Canada, etc. So just like any other investment, there are tons and tons of ways you can invest in Pokemon cards. So just to keep the video simple for now, I'm going to be strictly discussing old school cards. That's from the original set, Fossil, Jungle, Team Rocket, etc. I will be creating a video for the newer generation cards. So for those of you who are bigger fans of the new generation series, then I'm going to add a link on this video later on down the line when I get that posted. That will be the next aim that I'll work on. I'm also going to just exclude graded cards, as these prices on the markets fluctuate way too much over time. So I'm going to give you the information, tactics, knowledge, and just how to get started basically. I will discuss basically my own personal portfolio and the reasoning why I've chosen these cards. This advice is just so you can get it implemented and add some value into your collection. So with that all being said, all them house rules established, let's go ahead and begin. Look guys, I'm just going to keep it really simple. You will never go wrong if you're investing in the original 151 Pokemons. It's literally the Pokemons everyone is familiar with, from the old school audience like the 90s kids like myself to even newer school generation. These are the Pokemons everyone's familiar with. You got the recognizable names out there, and just due to that nostalgia value, due to that familiarity, they obtain more value. So if you are going to be investing, I literally say you go with them collections first, because you're not going to go wrong. Now, obviously, we're going to be looking into some of the older school cards like I mentioned. So if we're looking at the original base set, Fossil, Jungle, etc., I'm going to be tending to follow a rule of thumb. Now, you might be familiar with the big boys out there like Charizard, Blastoise, Venusaur. I'll be honest, you're going to be way overspending on your budget of £100 if you are going to chase them. But I like to go with a rule of thumb in place where, if you look at the Pokemon world, you have 6 Pokemon that you can keep at your side, that you can carry with you at all times. So who is your 6 Pokemon? Who are the people that you love? Who are the Pokemon that you want on your side? Because honestly, with any investment, you want to have some sort of attachment to it, because that will encourage you to build up more. Luckily enough for me, in this basis, I have a Pokemon that I've always been a fan of with, and you could probably see in the background, I got a plushie of Sandslash, and for me, I can get hold of a first edition Sandslash at a mint and near mint copy for around even £8 on eBay. Over here it says on PokeValue that's about £5. Maybe you can find that from a person in your card shop or your local card shop, etc. But of course you want a mint and a near mint copy. There's no other copy that you want, guys. It has to be prestige as possible. So for me, Sandslash is in there. I'm going to give you guys a budget of £10 to work with, because if you are a fan of like the big boys out there like Charizard, Blastoise, etc., then I'm not gonna lie, if they're your 6 Pokemons, you're gonna struggle. But there's so many versions of Pokemons out there that people love. Look, there's Cubone first edition, that's not even a badly expensive card out there. Jigglypuff, a fan favorite, Ghastly, etc. All these cards as a first edition copy, if you can get hold of it in a near mint condition, you're probably looking around spending £10 on these. So go for it, see what you can find out there, see which Pokemon holds that value to yourself, and add that onto your collection to get yourself started off. So next up, guys, we're going to give you a 30 quid budget over here, and that is to get the original Black Star promo set of the legendary birds. Of course, I'm talking about Moltres, Articuno, Zapdos. Now, there's a bit of a unique story when it comes to these Black Star promos. Firstly, I don't know why they're valued so low as well, with like $7.50, etc. It's a bargain considering how famous these Pokemons are. But there's a bit of a unique aspect to it. Now, usually when it comes into the Pokemon world, having a misprint card is worth a lot of money, and this is where there's a bit of a switcheroo, because there's a more misprint version of these cards than there are the actual original cards. Now let me point out something over here. Now when it comes to the illustrator of this card, you will find more of this person being listed over here. Now I'm going to butcher the name, but it says the illustrator as Tashina Aiko. Again, apologies for mispronunciation. However, if you get the original copy, which there are lesser version of this, the actual version that is correct, that gives a credits the correct illustrator, and that should be Naoya Kimura. Again, apologies for the name butcher over there. So with that in mind, you can actually find these cards on eBay, and some people are just not as clued up as they are when it comes to these cards. So for example, you just type Moltres Black Star promo, and then you might go ahead and you might look into the illustrator, see what's out there. Maybe one person, like this individual as a private seller, at a near mint or better copy, he's got the original illustrator on there, the one that is much more rarer, and he just wants £8 for that. I'm not gonna lie, these cards are probably double the value. You're probably looking at about £15 to £16 if at a non-graded value, if you were to get the correct illustrator on there. And then when you get that graded as well at a near mint copy, that is where it's going to be worth quite a bit in the future. So try to find these, try and get as much as you can do. There's still people out there that slip up, but I think some sellers out there will type in the misprint or type in the original print, and then you're paying the price. But if you can scour the market on sites like eBay or even in person, if you see that name, go ahead and get that. And if you've got less than £10, you are literally in the plus straight away. So guys, with a 15 quid budget, I'm going to move on to Lapras. Again, this is a recognizable name in the Pokemon world, but it's actually got more love from the newer school audiences, and that's because of like this anime series and the Pokemon games. The newer generation seems to love Lapras and have actual fan clubs for this, and I kid you not, you'll have Reddit, Facebook, Twitter community pages of the Lapras fan club by the newer school audiences. And look, this is the thing, guys, this is where I'm talking about the long-term investment. If you are a person that's connected to this card and you grow up, eventually you're going to want the best version that you can get all of this card. I'm not going to lie, the holo card is quite expensive out there. We'll be eating into 70 to 80 quid of the first edition budget. But if you can get the common non-holo version of it, just the standard rare first edition, you probably look about spending £15. And what I like more about it is the fact that the artwork looks more unique. Like if you check out the holo, for example, You don't have that water effect. It doesn't seem like Lapras is belonging to his home world. Obviously it's cool, it's shiny, etc. But I like the common because of the illustration artwork that's involved in over here. And I think, especially when you get the first edition cards of this, there's going to be eventually an increase in value when it comes to the Lapras, especially when the newer generation do grow up, do have that love. And like I mentioned, the nostalgia value of Lapras. I can see this card going for a lot more in the future. And yeah, I don't know what it is. You guys might be a Lapras fan out there. You can tell me what is the love of Lapras out there. But the generations out there, the fan clubs out there are really passionate about Lapras. And because of that reason, it's a good Pokemon to invest in. Next up, guys, this one's not going to eat into your budget too much, but it might make you go to sleep, and that is Jigglypuff. It's £5 to be honest. You'll be probably looking at spending for the first edition Jungle Jigglypuff. Now, again, this has got the same effect as that Lapras does, where the newer school, and if you look at the merchandises that's coming out from the Pokemon world, Jigglypuff is quite up there now. They're getting a lot more releases. There's definitely been a more catered audience towards the Jigglypuff fan club. Like my wife is what you can say is a casual viewer or a casual fan of Pokemon, but her favorite Pokemon is Jigglypuff, so she goes and ends up buying like a merchandise there. Now we got a giant Jigglypuff plush for my daughter, and my wife obviously loves that plush as well. So it's just stuff like that, that attachment again, that I go on emphasis when it comes to investment. And if you're looking at the audiences at this space of time, what is going, what are the products that are selling, Jigglypuff is out there. £5. It's a wild card, but I don't think you're going to go wrong with investing into a first edition Jigglypuff, even in saying that it sounds cool. No Pokemon collection will be complete without having the main man himself, the mascot of the entire industry, the one and only Pikachu base. Well, I'm not going to say base set, but this is actually the Jungle set first edition Pikachu. Now, I did mention on the base set, and I want to touch on that in a bit. But basically, even though this is not the original ones you can get from the 1999 set, it still fluctuates about £10, which is actually quite high for a common card up until that point, and that's again because of the value that Pikachu holds. But I think what makes it much more unique is we'll go on to the base set, and you can see there's a difference over here. Firstly, there's a lot of Pikachu variants from the base set. I could talk about the red cheeks, the shadow lust, etc., everything that's involved, the yellow cheeks Pikachu. But when it comes to actually looking at the artwork, you might notice some difference over here. This Pikachu doesn't seem to be as defined as this Pikachu, and that is because they were still establishing the mascot, the actual anime at that point in time when they originally released it into Japan as Pocket Monsters. Now, obviously, Pikachu was later on introduced as being the main man, the guy that was alongside Ash, so they kind of gave him a bit more of an updated look, and that is why this Pikachu, I feel like, is going to be worth more of that value, because it's the Pikachu we more recognize. This Pikachu looked like he just got out of bed, he wasn't even getting ready. Like he looks like he's ate a bit too much sugar in comparison to this Pikachu. So there's a bit of a differences over there, and I think that value will probably add the Jungle set series eventually increasing down the line, because we're more familiar of this looking Pikachu than we are of this Pikachu, despite this one being the first one that's come out in the original base set. But yeah, Pikachu, like I mentioned, you're never going to go wrong. There's always going to be people out there that's going to want a variety or even all collection of Pikachu just because of the name, the mascot, the representation in the Pokemon world. Go ahead, get hold of this, because this is going to be one of your best investments that you have in your longer term collection. So guys, I've saved the most expensive card to last. We're going to need a 30 quid budget. To be honest, we might even need a bit more now, looking into it in a bit more context now. I'm actually recording this video. But as it stands right now, I want you guys to seriously get hold of this card. The holo version of the Black Star promo Mew, number 9 of the Black Star original promo set of the Wizard series. You might notice something from the Wizard Black Star promos about this Mew if it hasn't given it away looking at the screen. You might can see that the original sets over here, none of them are holo. This is the first holo one, and that in itself adds value to the card. Look, a collector out there in the future will be like, ooh, that's the first ever holo card from that promo set. And that appeals straight away to a certain type of collectors, to a certain type of audiences. The other value that Mew brings onto the table, if you're looking at the 151 set at this point of time right now, he's the mascot. He's the one that's plastered onto the box. Again, that familiarity is going to drag some faces into it. They're going to be drawn into Mew. I mean, even if you look at it right now, in accordance to Pokémon value, the card range is about £33. I spent £30 on this card, so I probably already made money back on this. And this was like less than a year as well when I managed to find it £30. I would note that at this moment, eBay fluctuates with prices. Some of these cards you can find at a decent price. Some of these cards you're spending a lot more. Like, for example, this guy's got a played version of Mew in holo for £45. I'll tell you to avoid that. There's a lot of commons. Obviously, do not get deceptive. Do not try to rush the collection and go, oh, the common, but that might sell because that's the first Mew on that set. I wouldn't. It's not a bad card to have, but you want the holo version. You're literally looking at it on the long-term investment. I dare even say it, with the way that the trajectory is going at this point of time at recording this video, I can imagine in 5 years from now, this will go from a £35 card as it stands right now to about a 50 to a 60 quid card. So almost double, I would say, in the value. And like I said, in 5 years from now, I don't think I'll be eating my words, but you guys can go ahead and rage in the comment section if I am, and then that's it. Hustlemon is finished. We are done. But I would encourage anybody to invest in this card. Hopefully I've not gone over the budget of it, but that's where my original £100 I would invest in these in particular Pokemon cards. So there we go, guys. That's it. We got the 100 quid spent over there. Hopefully you guys found this video informative. Look, you might be a new collector out there. You want to go ahead and kickstart the series like I have done it when I come to my elder years. I say elder years. I'm not acting like I'm an old man with a stick, but some days I feel like it. Put it that way, guys. But yeah, that's it. Hopefully it's been informative. You might even be a collector already. You just wanted to brush up on some of the knowledge, thinking about what you can invest in. So if it's been informative, it's helped you out over there, please go ahead and hit that like button. Look, that's what helps out small YouTubers. If you hit that like button and you literally come on board and hit that subscribe button, it gets the name out there, and honestly that will be a massive help. I will be focusing on the newer school cards on my next video. I'm going to go ahead and record that as well, so that's where I like the things of a bit more, because it's a wild west out there when it comes to Pokemon investing, especially when it comes to the newer generation, because there's so much up for grabs right now. But we'll do the same. We're going to look at 100 quid budget, so it's not like ridiculous amount. I would say a lot of people like these days go, oh, if I had £4,000, this is the Pokemon card. Like, people don't have £4,000 or $4,000 or whatever. Like, bring yourself down. Like, look, some people just want to get started on these things. But yeah, final thing, guys, I just want to point out something. If you're young over here and you're looking into the world investing in Pokemon cards, firstly, look, I have massive respect for you lot if you're actually looking at it in this in-depth level. Young collectors out there, I feel like need to be encouraged a lot more, especially I wish financial success for a lot of people, and I think that it's one of the aspects and avenue that a lot of people don't learn knowledge about. When you're younger, you have the opportunity to do a lot more because you don't have much responsibilities. As you get older, you have more responsibilities. So if you could do this young as possible, I would have been a freaking millionaire, I think twice over, if I did this early on. Like, I had a huge collection of Pokemon, I had a huge collection of Yu-Gi-Oh! I had a freaking massive collection of Godzilla, some like really old school, cool looking Godzilla toys, and all that. I gave it to the garbage man. I made it rain. I made it rain to the garbage collection. And obviously that bites me on the ass now. So there is that. But when it comes to investing anything, I want you guys to follow the baby steps first. If in a financial point of view, like, get yourself an emergency fund, get yourself saved up to cover your back, and always put the people that you have priority first over any investment. I don't think many Pokemon channels discloses this, so I'm saying it because I come from a bit of a financial background. I will always put my wife and my daughter first. I've got a little baby daughter. Them two will always come first. I make sure they're taken care of before I build up my own portfolio. And that is what you want to do. You don't want to be treating it as gambling. And I think that's where people kind of lose track when some of these products are over here. you need to separate yourself as an investor. That's the whole point of it. We're looking at long-term investing, long-term trajectory, and that is what this channel is going to be about. We're going to be hustling in the world of Pokemon for that reason, because honestly, I think there is great value in these products. There's great love for the game. There's great passion for it as well, and this is the most important thing when it comes to investing. If you have passion for it, if you have love for it, you're more likely to go ahead for that. So yeah, make sure you got your priorities firstly that way sorted out. We've all got our responsibilities, we've all got, you know, individual circumstances, so make sure you've got that in place before you go ahead and delve into this world. Appreciate your time, guys. Thank you for listening, and hopefully, like I said, you enjoyed the video. It's Hustlemon. I'll see you on the next video.